Live from Detroit, it's the Lowdown on Motown Sports Podcast with your hosts, Dane Williams, Junko Bodie, and Bob Daniele. If you're looking for the best present to take to your mother-in-law's birthday party, you're in the wrong place, dude. We talk Michigan sports here. It's real, it's raw, and there are no punches pulled. What happens when you put a gambler, a rocket scientist, and a radio jock in the same room? Well, we're all about to find out, and it probably won't be pretty. But whatever happens, it will be lively. So grab a brew, sit yourself in your favorite rocker, and take notes. If you're some kind of nutcase, the boys are back in town and talking about the stuff that matters, Motown Sports. So let's get to it, people. Here's the host of today's show, Rockin' Robert Daniele.
Hey, Tom, before we go there, I want to give you a spoiler alert, and Dane always picks Michigan. I just want to tell you that right up front. So with that said, Dane,
no mystery
let's hear
here.
Your prediction.
For all the reasons I said earlier, they may come out MSU may come out swinging. But I think Michigan's just got too much going for them right now, and MSU's heading in the wrong direction. I've got Michigan winning 34-7.
Hello, everybody. Well, welcome to the roller coaster that is Michigan sports. Last week, we were singing the blues after 2 losses to USC and the Kansas City Chiefs. This week's, it's nothing but optimism on the Detroit sports scene. Hey, I'm glad to be back with Blue Dane and Junko, as I'm subbing in this week for Boogie Bob, who had a spa appointment, or checking in with his parole officer. Guys, we'll get to the local games in a minute, but another good week in the Big Ten. What were you guys watching?
Well, hey, Tom, before we jump into that, let's why don't you tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you? I know it's been, a year since we've had you on this show, so.
Been a little while. Listen, I've been working pretty hard, getting the International Arena League off the ground and up and running, and we've actually had a couple of press releases for it. So the International Arena League is an arena football league here in the U.S., Canada, and Europe, and as we speak, I just got back from Cincinnati, and we launched the Cincinnati market recently.
Wow. And we're going to have a team in Windsor. Is that what I hear? Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
You got it here first.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're planning on having a team over in Windsor. We like that area, and they're going to represent Ontario.
Okay, excellent. All right, so you were asking us about the if we were watching any of the other games this week. You know, Dane, I watched a couple of games. I was watching that Penn State game. I thought it was kind of crazy. I don't know. It's like, for me, I'm like one of those guys who you can't look away from a train wreck. You know, and Penn State is a total train wreck, right?
They are.
Yeah, and I saw them playing Iowa, and you're thinking to myself, God, only teams that don't have a pulse lose to Iowa, right? I mean, as Tom knows from our past associations, Iowa can't score a lick, right? And I mean, they value the punter there, and to think that Penn State is going, to go to Iowa after being the preseason number 1 and going to lose that game, I had to watch it, and it didn't disappoint. Interception on the first series of the game. Penn State goes down and they score touchdown, and then they return the favor to Iowa. Same gig, they throw the interception. Iowa goes down and scores. It was a ridiculous show. And anyway, that's one of the games I was watching. The other game I watched that I really liked is, how much I love Matt Rule.
Yeah.
You love to see him go down, baby.
I love to watch him get his ass beat, right? And he did again. And it was it's like a train wreck. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy love is what it is. But anyway, Devin Gardner was announcing that game.
He's funny.
And he is great. He's absolutely great. He was funny on the show, and so I had a really good Saturday. After Michigan obviously played in the early game, they won, and that was fun. And then get to watch these games afterwards is a pure gold Saturday for me. I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I love watching Devin Gardner on Jake Butt's podcast. Those two are really good, the way they break down the game. It's just fantastic. You brought up PSU, and, there's a lot of fallout. In fact, Keenan Spell, I don't know if you heard of Keenan Spell. He's like one of the top running backs in 2027. He was committed to PSU. He decommitted, and one of his official visits coming up is going to be to Michigan. So,
Oh, really?
So that might be good. That might be good. But a couple games I watched, UCLA just amazes me how they started out so poorly. And now they're still on a roll. They took down Maryland. Now Maryland was 4-0, and we all kind of went, really? Now they're 4-3.
Yeah,
And
right.
UCLA comes in and takes down Maryland 2017. And then Oregon, OSU, they just keep rolling. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but they do keep rolling. But how about USC getting humbled by Notre Dame? And
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
I was in. Where was that USC defense that showed up for Notre Dame when they played against us? Because Jeremiah
Yeah.
Loves runs for 228 yards on 24 carries. Where was that defense against us? I don't know. But
Yeah.
there you go.
They
But
left
anyway, interesting.
Anyway.
Notre Dame's kind of up and down. But those are the games I watched. Interesting.
Junko, let me ask you this. When you watched the Iowa-Penn State game, what were your thoughts as you're watching a guy try to kick a 70-yard field goal just before halftime,
Yeah.
get blocked and run back for a touchdown?
I know. Like I said, it was like a train wreck. You couldn't take your eyes off the stupid stuff. And I watched that kick. The guy who blocked it was being blocked. He just throws up his arm, and the kick is so low it almost hits his defender in the back. Right, but somehow it hits the guy's hand, goes directly backwards, and and the rest is history. But I said I was like watching a train wreck. Ridiculous.
I know Tom brought up about Iowa. I think it was last year when we had him on. He was saying the most valuable player on that team is the punter. And he was right, Well, I guess it's not so much this year, but their offense seems to be clicking a little better.
Yeah, they are. I like the analogy of a train wreck. What's interesting is I think it's home and away in the Big Ten. I think you're starting to see teams just play completely different when they're at home than when they are away. I mean, with the quick, I don't want to do too much of a quick segue, but you got your Michigan team who looked incredible, correct?
Yeah, they look good.
And they play away. Yeah.
Right.
I know.
So, listen, after week 6 of the Big Ten standings are still, you still have a story here for the rest of the year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Michigan comes off a butt whipping. They lost to USC. Then they come home and they beat a team that a lot of people are talking about, Washington, and they beat them 24-7, and they held that quarterback down. What seemed like what could have gotten away, I guess you might call a disaster season last week, now looks very promising, given Michigan's schedule coming down the stretch. What do you guys feel like is coming up moving into Thanksgiving weekend? Give us a breakdown of the Washington game, and let's start with Michigan's offense against that Husky defense.
Dane, why don't you take it first?
Yeah, I the good thing is, especially with Bryce Underwood, every week we're seeing progress. Right, he's still making some mistakes, but he had some great pass. That one pass to Tanielli off his back foot, under pressure. Coverage was pretty darn good, and he lays it right in there. I mean, that one was just amazing. And some of his other passes were very good. Again, if we can just get our receivers to catch the ball more frequently, and that fourth down play, that was the right call, but he had the wrong personnel. Don't throw it to Samaj.
Drop.
Yeah, Samaj just dropped it. I mean, put Marsh in that role, right? Marsh has been a stud, and I really like his pass and catch for that TD in there. But Bryce is like I say, improving every week. We use the tight ends more this time. I think the difference between some of our losses and our wins have been our losses. We're not using the tight ends. Our wins, we are using the tight ends, and it's great at that and the running back now. He's getting, like the last game, he's dropping it off to Marshall, and big plays, 10, 12 yards. So it's great. And then finally, I'll just say, Jordan Marshall, man, he's playing with guts, emotion, and it was just beautiful to see the way he powered through that line. Now he had the O-line did a good job opening up some holes. But I said last week, the Washington game will really tell us how much those players love the coaching staff, how much they love Sharon, and how much maybe the assistant coaches love Sharon. And I think it came through. I think they took it to heart that we need to do something here. And it was just, I think, from an offensive standpoint and defense.
Well, I agree with you about Bryce for sure. I mean, it was hard to tell that he was, just turned 18 years old. And
Yeah.
you watch that game, he was 21 for 27. There were 3 drops, and he had a 19-yard run in there. And you referenced that one throw. I would counter that he had 2 throws to Tinelli that were terrific. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tinelli only caught one of them. But he's an emerging story for Michigan. He's going to be great for the next 2 years. Just, probably after that be in the NFL as a first-round draft choice, and there's a lot to like there. I'll tell you what I liked most about it, though, the whole thing on offense was that they seemed cohesive for the first time this season. But that said, they still only scored 24 points, and so you feel like they're still not there yet. They're still trying to put it all together. And I like what Chip Lindsey's doing. I thought this was his best called game to date for Michigan. And they got some breaks in this game, Michigan did. They got 3 interceptions, right? And one of them was completely lucky. Another one was a throw behind the receiver. And then there was a great play on the other one. But so, again, even with all those advantages, they only scored 24 points. So I feel like they still have a long way to go before we get to Ohio State 5 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'd say that first half. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say that first half seemed like it was a half of missed opportunities. The drop pass on 4th down. I think they went for it on 4th down, didn't make it. Missed field goal by Zavada again. Was he 8 for 12 now? What? Zavada, you're my man.
Yeah, how is that even possible?
So it was like when I was sitting there, I'm going, this is just a half of missed opportunities. Luckily, it got turned around in the second half. But go ahead. So.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, everybody yesterday seemed to do their jobs for the first time, right? And I know we're going to talk about the key players of the game here on the next segment. In fact, let's go there now, Tom.
Yeah, listen, we always talk about the keys to the game, especially on offense. What do you think the whole key to the game was for the offense?
And I'm going to jump back in here where Dane was kind of going with Jordan Marshall. I think Jordan Marshall was a real key to the offense this week. It could have been very easy for this to be a narrative about missing Haynes and that being the reason that we didn't win this game, right? But Marshall steps up and has a huge game for them. And while he doesn't have that game-breaking speed, the guy between the tackles is a monster. And he was a monster this week. Again, I talked about Chip Lindsey, and Michigan, even though they only scored 24 points, they still averaged 6 yards per play. That's damn good. They were 50% on 3rd down conversions. That's damn good, right? So they're getting there. They just got to put it all together. And then I want to talk about the tight ends. Now, this is Michigan football, right? We're all about the running backs to the tight ends. And in this game, our top 2 tight ends are out of the game, and in come these 2 guys, right, that haven't played a down all season, and they have 8 receptions for averaging 13 yards per play. Are you kidding me? That was awesome. And then Blake Frazier coming in the game, after Evan Link, the starting left tackle, gets hurt. He comes in, he's a legacy, and boy did he play well. So those things were all, to me, the key players of the game.
Did you see an update on Link by chance? Any update on Link? I don't see anything, but it looked like a pretty gruesome injury, at least a ACL or something.
Yeah, I think he may be gone for the year.
Yeah. I agree with you on the tight ends. That was great. Tony Ellie, where'd he come from? And he had that one drop pass that was right there. But he made 3 other receptions, for 38 yards, was pretty good. And Zach Marshall, he had that TD, 5 receptions for 72 yards. It's kind of weird that McCulley was like the 4th leading, receiver, and he was our number 1. Now he's still a great receiver. He just wasn't targeted as often. They probably had him double covered at times.
They did. They were all over him.
But Marsh was, he was thrown to 5 times. He had 5 receptions for 49 yards and a TD. So we are the youngest team in the Big Ten, but we are playing well beyond our years right now, as of the Washington game, at least.
Tom, did you see the game?
I did. Matter of fact, I sent you a text mid game or just post game. I was a little confused since we're jumping over here to talk defense. I was actually really confused by a defensive play in that game.
Yeah.
The fourth and 1, where they lined
At the
up
goal
from their
line.
own. No, when they were on defense, no, they were on their own 20. They were, Washington was on their own 20 and decided to go for it on like 4th and 1. And the Michigan defense lined up in a 3-man line, and then it was almost like a nickel package behind it. And I said, why are they giving in to the first down? Because to me, I don't think Washington wanted to go for it until they saw the alignment, but they didn't use the timeout to cover it. So I thought that was interesting. Listen, overall, quite a performance, I thought, on both sides, offense and defense. Your Jetfish team held them to 7 points. Junko, how did your defense come together after USC the week before to pull this off?
Boy, that's a good question, right? And I think, again, this is where the coaching staff gets huge kudos. As unprepared as I thought they were to play USC, I thought they were that much prepared to play Washington. And I had said last week in the podcast that I thought this was an audition for Jed Fish to be the next Michigan coach, right? Because he's got Michigan ties under Harbaugh and all that. And I think exactly the opposite happened. I thought Sharon Moore did a great job getting ready to play this game. We said last week is the key to the game. The one thing the defense had to do was contain Damon Williams, and they did. And they did it in every way. Washington's averaging, 39.7 points a game, and they scored 7 points this week. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I don't know. I also thought that it looked like that Wink maybe simplified the defense this week. They didn't see any safeties running up to the line of scrimmage and then running back trying to cover the deep stuff. I didn't see any defensive ends out in the flat trying to cover the pass. Some of the things that we thought they did wrong against USC, we didn't see any of that this week. So maybe that happened as well. Just overall, I thought it was a pretty good job by the defense. Any thoughts by you on that, Dane?
Yeah, I think on D, against USC, he was blitzing quite a bit, and you saw a lot of over pursuit. And then, like I said last week, the screen pass, it was easy. They were over pursuing all the time. And I noticed during the Washington game, a lot of times it was just a 4-man rush, and that's all it was. Yeah. And they were dropping the linebackers back into coverage. I think that may have been the reason for a couple of our interceptions, right? So They were containing Williams, but not over pursuing. And, I think they ended up with 2 sacks. And the shirt tail sack was excellent by Derek. In fact, Derek Moore had 2 sacks, right? Both of them. So I think that was the key to it, is he didn't call as many blitz packages. You're right. The safeties weren't running up and trying to run back, linebackers coming up to the line, and they didn't over pursue. And I think that was the reason why the defense played so damn well.
Yeah. 2 plays I saw that stuck out to me. One was the Cole Sullivan interception where he faked going to the line, and then he went right to the slant area, and the slant was thrown because Damon saw blitz, right? And so he got the pick there. And then the other play was the one that I thought Tom was talking about when he texted me, which was when Washington was at the goal line on their only touchdown, and it's like, I forget what it was, like 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1 or whatever, but they're at the 1-yard line, and Michigan's got, again, three defensive linemen there and 5 guys in the backfield 5 yards off the ball.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is that defense, right? And sure enough, they just walk into the end zone on it. They won't ever want to see that defense again.
The other missed opportunity was Jair Hill. He had a pick 6, man. He just couldn't haul it in,
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, right. Listen, you got to give Wink Martindale his props. I think Dane touched on it. He contained the quarterback. That offense for Washington goes when that quarterback gets out of the pocket and could scramble and run. And I think the Michigan team did an incredible job of containing him this week. So I would say give him his props on that. Well, listen, it's time to turn the page. Look, Washington's behind you. It's time to turn attention to
No, we want to talk about Washington more.
Well, Junko, I know that in the past you've always stated that this game coming up is really not much fun. It's divided in your household. The Michigan State game kind of digs deep, and it's hard to really enjoy a win sometimes. Game time's coming up Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Michigan's opening as a 14.5-point favorite. Woo! Jonathan Smith's on the hot seat, and traditionally this game is always a war. Junko, how can the Spartans win this game with this team, even with the game being on their home turf? Let's talk Spartans on offense. How do they win?
Dane, I want you to take this one first because I want to hear what Blue Dane says so I can counteract him.
Well, you see what I'm wearing here? I'm not wearing
nothing.
I'm not wearing blue today, am I? You know why?
Are you sick?
Yeah, because I'm sending my love to little brother. Okay, so I'm wearing white today to send my love to little brother. And I hope little brother's doing fine. I hope they're all healthy because we're going to come in and we're going to kick some ass. Okay, that's all I got to say. So 14.5, that may not be enough. I don't know. But, MSU has been spiraling. They're just going down fairly quickly here. And their defense can't stop anyone. So I think I don't see how the Spartans can win this game unless we make a whole lot of mistakes. Bryce completely falls on his face. We can't run the ball for some reason. I just don't see it happening.
Hold on, Junko. Junko's getting ready to come through the screen. Hold on, Junko.
Go, Junko. Tell us about little brother.
You know what? This is one of those things where you do not, you don't punch the bear, right? I mean, you don't. I would rather play Ohio State than Michigan State. That's the truth. It's just because it's just such a nasty experience, right? I hate playing Michigan State. I wish this game was not a protected rivalry. I wish we only played them once every 4 or 5 years. The question is, can they win the game? Of course they can. You get a couple of turnovers. You miss a couple of kicks like we did this past week. Right? You say, if they can somehow stop the run, they could absolutely dedicate themselves to stopping the run. And if we don't react to it, and we have had periods of that this year and last year too, where we didn't take what the defense gave us. We tried to do what we do instead, which is, is in some ways is a nemesis for us. Here's a couple of things. Is that Indiana held Nick Marsh to 7 catches for 64 yards. I think if Michigan does that, they'll be very happy about that, right? And they're going to treat Aiden Childs the same way that they treated Damon Williams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to keep him right in the pocket and make sure that, if he's completing passes, he's doing it from the pocket. And they'll probably be double teaming Nick Marsh and Darren and the rest of the guys to beat him. That's how Michigan's going to do it. We know what Michigan State's going to do. They're going to come to the line of scrimmage and they're going to say, hey, you guys got a freshman quarterback. Let's see what he's got. And that's going to be the game, really.
Well, when Michigan has the ball, then how do you guys see this game playing out? Dane?
You see us establishing the run. I mean, let's it's good. Probably, I haven't heard on Justice Haynes. I don't know if he's going to be back or not, but I think Jordan Marshall is going to be ready for it. I see us establishing the run again. I see the game. I pretty much now MSU is no Washington, but I see pretty much the same game plan going into Michigan State because it worked really well. We've got a scrambling quarterback again, so same game plan on defense. I see the same game plan on offense, actually. We're going to run the ball. I think we're going to hit our tight ends. I don't see any. Now, the only thing that gives me a little pause here is Michigan has not played real well on the road. We did beat Nebraska, but only by 3. We lose to Oklahoma. We lose to USC on the road. So the only thing that gives me a little pause is the boys, when they're away from home, I don't know, they get a little homesick or something. They have a hard time playing to their ability. But I think against Sparty, at least it's still in Michigan. There should be a lot of Michigan fans there. I see them winning this one.
I think when I consider the home field advantage here, you have to take into consideration that this very much could be a 50-50 crowd. Now, I would expect it to be 70-30 Michigan State. But if Michigan scores a couple early touchdowns, it could actually be more Michigan fans in the stands than MSU fans in the second half. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic works out. I agree with Dane on the game plan. I think that it's fortunate for Michigan to get Aiden Childs the week after they get Damon Williams. I think because they're such similar quarterbacks. They have a similar dynamic to them. The only difference between them is that Childs is an upperclassman. So Michigan's going to try to take away the run for Michigan, and they're going to try to run the ball themselves. But they haven't had very much success doing that this year. They're going to, you're going to see they know that Michigan's been susceptible to the screen pass during the season. I think we're going to see some of that. I think Michigan's going to want to establish the run, but last week they had almost a perfect balance in the run pass category. And I can, here's the problem is that Chip Lindsey's going to look at the film and he's going to say, "Oh my God, that MSU pass defense is horrible." Right?
Yeah.
Let's throw the ball.
Let's go.
But the truth is,
which is fine with me.
The truth is that that's the way we could get beat, right? If we can't throw the ball successfully, if we try to, that's how we get beat. So we got to be able to run the ball. But MSU's going to be stacking the box for the run. So there's a dilemma there, and the question is how well we deal with that dilemma will determine the outcome of this game. I think if Michigan can take care of the football, they get reasonable officiating, and they can run the ball for 130 to 150 yards, and with their balance they have in the passing game, they're going to be.
It's interesting though. We find Jonathan Smith kind of in this almost the same, not the same spot, but sort of similar to Sharon. Coming into the Washington game, right? And so, how much do his players, his coaches, love him? Right? How hard are they going to play for him against Michigan, a big rival? So this, even though I think they're going to win big, if they decide that they really love their coach and they really want to play hard for him, let's see what happens.
Well, and that's something we haven't really talked about either. Is where is Jonathan Smith in all of this? Is this a game where if Michigan blows them out that he could get fired after this game? Could that happen?
I would say they have nothing to lose other than some money, or I don't know what his contract is. I doubt it's a payout like, Franklin, but
or like Tucker's, right?
Yeah, Tucker's.
Yeah, I think you look at what's left in that account, the bank account, and see can we actually pay him out because of what you just mentioned, because of Tucker's buyout. There might not be much left in that savings account to keep buying people out.
Right. Yeah, which brings us to that little quick discussion that we had about the equity deal. Did you guys hear about that? Where they want the California retirement system to buy a share of the Big Ten. Tony Petitti's been promoting that in his infinite wisdom.
I saw something on that, but didn't look into it much.
Well, I heard that USC and Michigan put a kibosh to it. They don't want it, but a team like Michigan State might want that because that's the type of thing that funds coaches' salaries, right? So,
okay.
That stuff all ties in together. So I just thought I would bring up. I'm glad to see that it doesn't sound like we're going to go down that path, and I'm happy to hear that.
Well, Junko, this is my favorite part of everything. Here we go. It's Saturday night. Game's coming on at 7:30. MSU gets a chance to save their season and ruin Michigan's. Let's get some predictions. Let's start putting them out.
Before we go there, I want to give you a spoiler alert. And Dane always picks Michigan. I just want to tell you that right up front. Okay. So with that said, Dane,
no mystery
let's hear
here.
Your prediction.
No mystery here. Okay, my prediction. For all the reasons I said earlier, they may come out swing. MSU may come out swinging. But I think Michigan's just got too much going for them right now, and MSU's heading in the wrong direction. I've got Michigan winning 34-7.
Yeah, 34-7. It's a rivalry game. It's in East Lansing, Michigan, right? This is not the Michigan team of 2 years ago.
That was 49-0.
But that said, I watched Indiana go at home and beat these guys 38. What was it? 38-7,
I think. Wasn't it 38-7? Something like that.
Something like that. And Michigan, I just feel like that defense, Michigan absolutely can put 31 points on them. The question is, what can MSU score? And the best I could come up with was 13 points. They might get to 20, but I've got it at 31-13.
31-13. All right.
Yeah. Tom, you got a thought on that one?
Yeah. Home team dog in a rivalry.
Right.
MSU
Right?
taking I'd take the 14.5 with a home team dog in the rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing against Michigan.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. But
It-
this is a tough one.
just
This is a game
numbers.
I won't be betting on Saturday because I feel like Michigan should cover, but that 14's a lot at home in a rivalry game.
Yeah, it's a lot. All right, so listen. I guess this is time where everybody knows Dane's useless but very interesting trivia.
But a
Yes,
bump
it is. We had music at one time. The music went away. There's no drum roll. There's no nothing. I'm just feeling so upset about it. But
I'm a guitar player.
So let's talk a little MSU. Let's talk a little coaches from MSU, and one very famous coach from MSU was Nick Saban, right? Nick Saban was with them from 1995 to 1999. You know, his first few years, it didn't fare so well. He was 6-5-1, 6-6, and 7-5. Coming to 1998, did I say 1997? 1999, I'm sorry, he was with him too. But 1998, they upset OSU 28-24, but still finished 6-6. And then in 1999, finally, they get to 9-2. They beat Notre Dame, Michigan, OSU, PSU, but had bad losses to Purdue and Wisconsin. Figured that one out. But things were different back in 99. So Saban abruptly resigns before the bowl game, and that was the Citrus Bowl against Florida, which MSU ended up winning 10-2. So in Saban's tenure, I have actually 3 questions around Nick Saban. But in Saban's tenure, how many bowl games did he win? 0, 1, or 2 bowl games?
I'm going to go with 0. Tom?
No, I think he won one. I think he had Smoker. I'll say 1.
It was 0. In fact, they lost their bowl games that he was a coach of, by a combined number of points of 85. So
Yikes.
they got beat up when he was in coaching bowl games. So just a couple other questions.
Isn't it amazing how much better he got when he got to Alabama and they had all that money?
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
And you can pay people under the table a little more easily.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Well, not
so
that he did,
brilliant.
not saying that he actually did that or anything. We don't want to get sued.
No.
So what college did Saban play for? And what position did he play? It was a MAC team.
I'm going to say he played for Miami of Ohio.
Any guess, Tom?
And I'm going to say he's a small guy, so I'm going to say he was a defensive back. I'm going to say he was a safety.
I'd say Akron.
Okay. He played for Kent State, and he was a defensive back, so very good. And he was born in West Virginia, which is where my wife is from, so she always said, "Oh, Nick Saban, I know him." So
they're probably related.
He could probably go play for Kent State today. He could probably still play for Kent State today.
They could use him. Yeah, they finally won a game the other day, last week, I think. Hey, so Saban also, he's sort of an actor. He made a cameo appearance playing himself in what 2009 movie?
It was the
Blind
Michael
Side.
Oher movie, Blindside. Yeah,
The
that
Blind
was
Side.
Yeah.
Very good. Yep. There you go. There's a little useless Nick Saban trivia for you.
All right.
In the MSU package.
Well, listen, that's going to be an interesting weekend this weekend in college sports, but I think we got to jump in and talk some NFL, because right now the Detroit Lions look like they're leading the pack. So they look like they're in the front of that race right now, coming off that big win over Tampa Bay on Monday night. I think it was 24-9. What are your thoughts on what you saw and what the Detroit Lions were able to do on defense? Let's start with defense. It looks like they held Mayfield to 228 yards passing, 50 pass attempts, 1 touchdown, interception, and 4 sacks. I think you're going to win a lot of games like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts there, Junko?
All I can say about the Lions defense is wow. I mean, I expected them to get absolutely shredded because they didn't have a single starter available for the defensive backfield.
In the secondary.
Not a single one. So you're missing 2 all-pro safeties. You're missing your first-round draft choice on the one side. You're missing your best corner on the other. And to think that those guys could hold Baker Mayfield down like they did was unbelievable. I give huge kudos to Shepard for his preparation for that game, and a hearty well done. I thought the officiating in that game was terrible, right? I mean, I know Baker Mayfield was bitching about it, but the Lions could have been bitching about it too. It was so inconsistent, some of the calls, and they got to do something about officiating in the NFL. That was just awful. But the Lions, I don't know. I just felt like they're not the team they were last year to me. I don't know. I watched them play. And I know we're talking about defense right now, but even on defense, they just don't seem to be as dominant as they were last year. Now they're playing a tougher schedule.
On offense,
right?
you mean? I'm sorry. On
well,
offense.
I mean on defense too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they weren't terrific defense at the end of the year last year, but they were pretty good early on. And and again, it was the injury bug. But I got to tell you, after a performance like this one, it gives you hope. I mean, what do you think, Dane?
Yeah, I was watching the game and I'm looking at the secondary and going, Whiteside? Who's Whiteside?
Yeah, who the hell is he, right?
Mollett? Who's Mollett? Yeah, kudos. I mean, but they played well. They played really well in the secondary. And, I don't know. Terrion Arnold, is he going to have a place when he comes back? I don't know.
Right.
Because these guys really showed up. So I was impressed. Pressuring the front four or whatever was getting pressure on Mayfield, and he was throwing some really errant passes and ill-advised passes. They pretty much shut down the running game. Only 41 rushing yards total. Jeez. So
yeah.
I mean, the way Mayfield has been playing at times, escaping and just making incredible plays, you really didn't see that this game. So yeah, it was a great win. Even though the offense at times went, especially Goff, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about offense in a minute.
Yeah.
Do you have a thought on it, Tom?
I do. I mean, to me, it all starts and ends with Hutchinson. That's where your defense starts and ends. And so I think he's one of those guys like Max Crosby and a couple other guys in the NFL that people are starting to pay attention to where they're lining up, and they kind of game plan around him. And so when you see a team have a night like this, a lot of times I say Hutchinson had a big advantage against the guy he was going up against because he can disrupt an offense.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was disruptive, although he was getting double teamed a lot of the night. And but he still, when you got a guy double teaming him like a back, that takes one guy out of the pass pattern, right? So that helps the defense too. So yeah, all things considered, a pretty awesome display by that defense.
Well, you guys brought up Goff. I mean, he didn't light up he didn't light it up, but he still had 240 yards passing. To me, that's a good game, isn't it? I wouldn't call it it's a pretty good game in today's day, I think. I don't think we're seeing 400-yard passers anymore. So, I think the problem is you guys only converted 3 of the 13 on third downs, but your rushing attack was there, obviously with a big 78-yard touchdown run by Gibbs. Guys, it seemed like a game that lacked flow for both teams. What were your general thoughts on the overall game and some of the injuries and stuff that you saw happening?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we just kind of covered that. The injuries were, like I said, beyond difficult to overcome, and they did. And regarding Jared Goff, I think Jared Goff in a lot of ways is a mixed bag. If he's a guy that if you leave him, if Detroit's got their running game going, and he can stand back there because teams are playing the run, he's awesome. But if you get back there and you get pressure on him, if they can stuff the run at the line of scrimmage and bring pressure from the outside, I think that he has some pretty weak moments. I thought he had some pretty weak moments in this game. Tom, you said 3 to 13 on third down. That's one of the things I would say. He got sacked 4 times, and a couple of those times is because he held the ball. The one fumble turnover we had, you could say Decker didn't get his block. But he held it way too long. He did. Yeah. And
Junko, you won the game.
We did win the game, but we should win that game. We're playing at home, right?
We focus on the negative here, Tom. We don't like positive.
Yeah, Tom. Right. Yeah, we did win the game, and I did give the defense unbelievable kudos. But I got to tell you that I thought the offense, and let's get this straight, Gibbs was fabulous, right?
Fabulous. Absolutely.
I thought the offensive line had an game. You know, Jamison Williams 0 receptions, Sam Laporta only 2 receptions. Right, all the completions went to Amon St. Brown, which is getting too much attention now, and our running backs. And I want to see our offense be more diverse than that. So, I think there's things for them to work on. I don't know, Dane, how did you see it?
Yeah, I mean, who needs Goff to have a good game when you got Gibbs? 226 all-purpose yards, over 50% of the offense, right? I mean, and you said it. I mean, he was just fantastic. He was fighting for extra yards. He was making now his touchdown run. I mean, Junko, you could have almost ran for that touchdown back in your day, because that hole was big enough. You could have gotten through that, and you were a quick little dude, so you probably could. So that was a big hole. It was a great run by him. I mean, 78 yards. He was untouched pretty much. But
I think it was a compliment.
All I can say is I got the heist, but I had to stiff armed him.
That's the only way I can compliment Junko. That's about it.
Right. Right.
But the O-line, giving up 4 sacks, got to work on that. Gibbs, that's all I have to say. Now Montgomery too. He had some really nice plays too, Montgomery. So it was really around the running backs, not necessarily the running game, but it was the running backs who really
and we need to take into
close.
consideration this is Tampa Bay too, right? I mean, they're a good team. They were 5-1 coming in.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they have a good defense.
Yeah.
Right. And Baker Mayfield, as we talked about last week, is a warrior. Right. So, I mean, overall, it was a good win.
Listen, people were talking about Baker Mayfield for the MVP up until this week. I mean, I think you kind of knocked him back in the pack a little bit, right? I think what's really impressive is how many of people like me have to chew some crow with the Jahmyr Gibbs running back pick when they took him a couple of years back, and everybody said, what a ridiculous pick. I was one of them, and he's proving to be one of the top backs in the NFL that you're building around, right?
Yeah, he's a weapon, no doubt.
Both sides. He's like a Bijan Robinson. He's like some of those other guys that can catch it and run it. And he can go the distance. He can do 80-yard touchdown runs, which is also hard to find. Overall, I mean, considering you don't think that they had a great game, yet they just went out and beat a team that's probably going to win their division, and they beat them pretty good, I think it says a lot for where the Lions are. And still, if they improve on top of that, are sitting in a really good spot right now.
It's really good.
It probably says a lot about how cynical we are, too.
We are. We're horrible. That's why nobody likes to hang with us.
Right.
Listen,
okay.
I think the good thing is the Lions get a little rest. They heal up during their bye week. So no predictions to go into this week. We'll have a preview and predictions next week for the Vikings game on November 2nd. Seems like the schedule gets a little easier there. But even with Bob out of commission this week, we still have some Lions trivia. Enlighten us.
So I've got to fill in for Bob here on Lions trivia. And Bob's trivia usually is pretty darn good, pretty insightful. Well, mine's not going to be that way. Mine's going to be, I'm sticking with the useless theme, okay?
We already knew that.
So, everyone knows for years, the Detroit Lions did not have official cheerleaders, right? You go to a game where they have high school,
high school girls,
different high schools, 4 different high schools. They'd be in each quadrant, doing their little cheers and stuff. So we didn't have official cheerleaders, but finally, William Clay Ford said no, which is interesting because when he became full owner of the team back in 1963, we actually did have official cheerleaders. So we had official cheerleaders from 1963 to 1974, and then they stopped doing it. So William Clay Ford, I don't know what got into him, but he said, nope, no more cheerleaders, and he was against it. But finally,
probably didn't want to pay them.
Probably do. That's probably it. So finally, in 2016, the Lions announced a decision to add official cheerleaders. Okay. But before the 2016 announcement, did the Lions have cheerleaders either, well, let's say any unofficial cheerleaders before 2016? Do you remember whether they had an unofficial group of cheerleaders?
Well, they got Greg Harrison. Does that count?
In 2010, they had the Detroit Pride. I don't know if you remember that Detroit Pride. They were they weren't really allowed in the stadium, but they would cheer outside the stadium, all the pregame stuff. And I actually knew one of the girls on the Detroit Pride. She was dating my nephew at the time. But anyway, so the question is, though, we're talking about cheerleaders in the NFL. How many other NFL teams do not have cheerleaders? Is it 0, 5, or 7?
Wow. Go ahead, you go first,
Dane.
Tom.
Well, Dane, I'm going to start calling you Cliff because this was a long Cliff Clavin. Sammy needs to get him another beer.
All of mine are long. I love spewing out useless facts.
Man, thinking about it off the top, I would go with, I don't think it's a lot. You know what? I'd say 0 because I think it's probably mandated as part of entertainment, sports entertainment. I'd go 0.
Normally we go 0, but since Tom already said that, I want somebody to solve Dane's riddle here. I'm going to say 5.
Okay, you're both wrong. It's actually 7.
Oh.
7 teams don't have cheerleaders. The Bills, the Bears, the Browns, the Chargers, the Giants, the Jets, and the Steelers. And the New York Giants are the only team that has never, ever, ever had cheerleaders. So the others had cheerleaders at one time, but right now there's 7 teams that do not have cheerleaders. There you go. There's some useless crap.
There's 7 stadiums to stay away from. There. So, yeah, listen, if you can't go and enjoy watching the girls dance at halftime, I don't know, especially if your team's not winning.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, no matter what it is, though, Tom, no matter how good looking those girls are or how talented they are, it's still not as good as going to the South Point Casino and getting a hot dog and a beer.
$1.75 inflation. 2 for $3.50 now.
It used to be $1.25, you know, and I would go over and I'd order 3 of them, and I would sit and watch the games. They were awesome. Yeah.
Inflation. And they moved the Visson cubicle out of there. It's no longer in the sports book. It's down in the basement. Yeah, they moved the Visson studio out. It's changed a lot. So I was actually there Saturday. I watched. Okay. That's where I watched the Michigan game. So I watched the Michigan game there this past weekend.
Yeah, fabulous place to watch sports. The South Point Casino there, just outside of the Strip in Las Vegas.
By the way, I hate these 7:30 games, man. You know, I go to bed at 8. So I don't know how I'm going to stay up and watch this movie.
Oh, be quiet, you old man. Come on. 7:30? Really? Come on. I get the 11 o'clock games, but 7:30? Come on.
Well, it's 6:30 for you. You got it easy.
Yeah, I'm up. I'm a 2 a.m. guy every morning.
Yeah, I know you are. You're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up at 2?
No, I don't go to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning. That's how I am. I get interested in stuff and I just can't let it go, you know. And
well, sometimes they call that a gambling addiction, and it needs to be addressed.
Well, you never know, right? It could be.
I mean, if you're looking 3 days in advance at those lines, we need to have a discussion.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
No. Oh man, no, I still enjoy going there. You know what? For as many people that say that the Strip is down on attendance, there's certain places that are still always packed, and the South Point is definitely one. South Point is packed every time I walk into it. It's packed.
Yeah,
and they always seem to be having good events. I think they have the rodeo there this week, but I'm sure I'll swing back in there and watch a couple games again.
Yeah,
let me sneak in a little go ASU.
Yeah, I'll have to get out to Vegas soon and see you, Tom, and we'll definitely get out to South Point and have a hot dog for sure.
Absolutely. You got to get back out here, enjoy what's going on. Great weather. Enjoying it. Watch one of those Michigan teams win.
Hey. Yeah, but basketball's starting now here too, so.
Oh, I forgot about hockey. Michigan hockey. I'm sorry. So, hey, an update on Michigan hockey. They swept Robert Morris this past weekend. I think it was like 10-2 and 5-2, something like that. This upcoming weekend, though, they're playing Western Michigan. Western Michigan is number 2 in the country. Michigan is number 3 in the country. So it should be a great series here starting. I think it's a Friday, Saturday soon.
Actually, I think they play tonight. I think that game is tonight.
Is it a Thursday, Friday series?
I think I'm pretty sure they play tonight. So
it may be.
yeah.
I think you may be right. Yeah. Okay. Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Anyway, go Blue.
How's that arena? Is it a good arena?
Yeah, Michigan Arena. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Yost. Yeah,
awesome. Yost, yep. Great arena.
Well, all right. Any last thoughts on Michigan State? I know Junko's looking forward to it.
We're all house divided. My daughter went to Michigan State. I claimed 2 daughters, and they both. One was it's still the dance coach there. So okay. We're a house divided. I don't troll them. They don't troll me. That's our boundary. So.
Oh, I expect it. Listen, I expect Michigan to have a good showing. I think that's a lot of points. Let me ask you, if they win by 10, convincingly by 10, is that a big win for Michigan?
That's an oxymoron. I mean, it can't be a convincing 10-point win, right?
You've bet enough. You realize they could be up by 17. They'd have 200 yards more rushing and still win the game by 10 after a late touchdown. It could be a convincing 10-point win.
If you say so, Tom. You say so.
Well, we've all been on the bad side of those.
Right, yeah. But
right? Backdoor covers?
You don't understand this rivalry. Yeah.
No, I don't. Tom, thanks for hosting. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having us on, guys. I had a fun. It was good to see both of you guys again. I'm going to go out and watch the game, and I'll be thinking of you guys when they're going up and down the field saying, oh, how's that going out there right now?
Very good.
You guys. All right, guys. Thank you.
Till next week.
All right, that's it for today, guys. Have a great evening.
Till next week.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Lowdown on Motown Sports Podcast. If you're liking what you're hearing, then why don't you do us a solid and rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show. And, we're pretty awesome, so why not share the awesomeness? We appreciate it. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Lowdown on Motown Sports Podcast.